chance. It's still early, so we don't know how Johnson and Redbird Capital will approach their new football league, and they may be trying to rebuild the teams that they already had created, though the XFL employees were terminated in April, like a lot of other companies, of course, or if they'll completely redo the entire league. Folks, I have to tell you, it's exciting. I'm a fan of the XFL, but I'm also a fan of good leadership and good ownership. And so here, this is going to lead us to our guest, and we're going to have a little bit of a dialogue on this, see if maybe she has an opinion on it. And folks, if you don't know who Marnie Schneider is, you're going to have to check her out. She's an author. She is a philanthropist, a fantastic human being, mother of 3, but more importantly, above that, just a good human. And oh, by the way, just happens to be the granddaughter of former Philadelphia Eagles owner, Mr. Leonard Toast. So welcome in, Marnie Schneider.
Hey guys, thanks Sal for that wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. Yes, my grandfather did own the Philadelphia Eagles, but I think that his probably the crown jewel in all of his accomplishments would be being one of the founders of the Ronald McDonald House. That's something that I'm very proud of, that I know he's very proud of as well. Or, you know, he's not alive, but would continue to be very proud of.
Okay, so from the ownership side, you've been around professional sports for much of your life. You know just a little bit about it, a lot more, I would say, than most people. So as a team switches ownership, what is the dynamic that maybe the players see in the locker room, that maybe something happens in the front office? What happens around the people that are involved with the club from what you've seen?
Well, I think, you know, I'll give you an example of what happened when my grandfather sold the team. I think transition can be tricky in any endeavor, in any business. And there's always uncertainty as to whether who in the front office is staying, what players are staying, what coaches are staying, what that means for the season ticket holders, what that means for the product on and off the field. So it's always kind of met with a little bit of concern, but probably some excitement too, because at a certain point when the ownership has a new owner, there's new energy and new vitality that's brought in with a little bit of melancholy from the old days. And I think that my grandfather definitely was a very beloved owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, but I definitely think that the current ownership, people really love what Jeff Lurie has done too. So it's a way to blend everything. And if you're a really good fan, then you appreciate the old times and really cheer on the new times.
Yeah, I just think it's a kind of an interesting transition talking about the XFL league, which actually has a lot of good football. The rules are good. The teams are good. And let's face it, they're not 100% up to NFL by all means, but it is remarkably entertaining. And I know Sonar and I were having a lot of discussions during the XFL as they were going, and you know, the games were entertaining. And I think that's the most important part. So having good leadership at the top of a team and of a league, I think is really important. The NFL right now has questionable leadership with Roger Goodell. I'm not a fan, and I know a lot of people are not a fan of Roger Goodell. He just seems like the $40 million puppet. I don't know. That's what it seems to me. What are your thoughts?
I think of course, it's a very challenging job. My grandfather, under his ownership, it was Pete Rozelle. And one of the stories, I think that the commissioner of the league really generally has to corral a bunch of school children into one room to try to get everybody to get along and to make good decisions for the community. And I don't think it's a very easy position to be in. And I would say this, one of the stories that my grandfather shared with me, when he was the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, they would have these league meetings every couple of weeks at Park Avenue, which is where the NFL headquarters are. And Pete Rozelle used to make the owners sit in these little schoolboy desks. And my grandfather, whenever they would have these meetings, would have 2 Barca loungers rolled down Park Avenue. And they would not be for my grandfather. They would be for 2 owners at the time. One was for Mr. Ford, who owned the Detroit Lions, who obviously without Ford Motors and without, so many things have happened because of the Ford family. Not only are they incredibly philanthropic, but amazing owners. And Mrs. Ford is a phenomenal lady, and I am a huge fan. But he would have these 2 Barca loungers rolled in for Max Winter Skinner, who was a Holocaust survivor and the owner of the Minnesota Vikings, and Mr. Ford, because he would say, look, Pete, we're a bunch of clowns. We can sit in these schoolboy desks, but these two guys, they're the leaders of the entire NFL. They're going to have a little bit more of a luxurious time during your lecture to us. And so I think that what Roger tries to do is to kind of have a common ground for everybody. Has he done a great job? It's so hard to say. Everybody's definition of great job is different. I think that, keeping the integrity of football and the product on and off the field good is really one of Roger's jobs. And I think he's done that. Obviously, off the field, things are always a little questionable, but I think that on the field, the product is great. And that's why we love football. And that's why I'm such a huge football fan. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm a huge football fan. So I can't wait to be able to watch professional football again.
Well, look at it this way, Marnie. I think it's safe to say in all the four major food groups of sports, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, all the commissioners are not liked by the fans. I think, frankly, especially here in our last 2 minutes, I believe Rob Manfred should have stepped down from Major League Baseball after what happened with the Houston Astros. And, we're on the Astros radio network. I think that Manfred should have stopped. He should have stepped down. And I believe that, well, frankly, this title should have been stripped. I'm sorry, Astro fans, but I think that series trophy should have been stripped. And the same thing with the Boston Red Sox. We're not going to allow them to get away with anything. And guess what? We're on in Boston as well. Sorry, everybody listening up in New England. At the end of the day, I mean, look, Rob Manfred has let certain things happen that should not have happened, and they should have stepped down. I mean, how are you going to vote them out? You got to get them out of there somehow. And the only way to really do it, I guess, is to have a meeting of the minds. But then the court of public opinion has already spoken. So take 30 seconds and respond to that.
All right. Well, they're not stepping down. Let's be real. I mean, those are jobs that people don't necessarily step down from. So I think that, again, having, keeping intact with keeping the integrity of the game, which obviously, Major League Baseball has had so many, situations where the integrity of the game is not being held to the highest standard. But at this point now, it's really just about regrouping and getting the game back on the field. I think with the coronavirus that we're really interested in just playing ball. So stepping down is probably not going to happen for any of these commissioners. And definitely, I think that with Rob Manfred, I'm hopeful that they will continue to play baseball and at least, finish the season, and then we'll regroup and see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, folks. We have a lot more to unpack. I'll tell you what, we're going to be back here with Marnie Schneider and that wonderful puppy. We're going to learn more about that little puppy in her hands when we come back here on the Sports Circus. Look at him. What a handsome little puppy. All right, folks, back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tuzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportcircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studio here in fabulous Las Vegas. That's AAMP.TV. This segment brought to you in part by Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help them from getting out of traffic, sitting in traffic every day, or sitting around your house every day saying, what am I going to do today? Maybe I want to reinvent myself. Guess what? Have your very own talk show in your very own home studio. Contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Or visit them online for more information at calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And welcome back to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Those right here in Las Vegas, 97.9 FM. Big hello to you over in Atlanta on WDJY, as well as our friends over in Boston, WBNW, and of course down in Corpus Christi in the greater Houston market, KSIX, CBS Sports over there, 95.1, 96.1, and 1230. Big hello to everybody at KCAA in Southern California, as well as CBS Sports 1500. KHKA in Honolulu, and everybody else watching on YouTube, and we'll run out of time if we keep doing this. Anyway, back here talking with Marnie Schneider. Now, Marnie is listen, she's an author, she's a philanthropist, she is also the granddaughter of former Philadelphia Eagles owner Leonard Tost, and she's got a really cool puppy there, and I think his name is Irving.
True. That is his name. All right. Yes. Irving. Right, okay, so that's his rescue name. That's his name that he had when I rescued him. Although, dogs rescue us, we really don't rescue them. But his stage name is Fumble the Dog because Fumble / Irving and I go on all our adventures together as Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog.
That's funny. Fumble the Dog. Not something you hear on a regular basis. It's funny what you say with how dogs rescue us. I had a cat that actually rescued me. So I'm walking my dog, and I'm walking the dog around the block. Her name is Miss Tiki LaTorche, right? So I'm walking Tiki around the block, and a cat just one day just started walking with us. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a little unusual, but let's just kind of roll with it. And so the cat walks with us, and I said, okay, fine. We go back to the house. Cat's sticking around and go out, and I try to play with it a little bit because I love animals. And sure enough, it's time to go in. So I got to go in, and the cat's doing its thing in the neighborhood. Cat comes back the next day when I'm walking the dog again that night, and it was doing this regularly. So I'm like, all right, I'll start feeding it. And after 6 months of this, 6 months, I'm like, oh, it's getting a little bit cold here in Las Vegas. I'm like, all right, Kat, you're in. And I called it part-time kitty the whole time because, it would only come around part-time. And then after it came into the house, I was like, all right, I'm going to name it. I'm not going to name it full-time kitty, but I'm going to name it Good Kitty. And so Good Kitty is with me today after just a few years on top of it. Big round of applause from the pets that adopt us, right?
That's right. They do. They rescue us. They were lucky to have animals. I'm a huge animal lover myself. So that's a great story. I love cats and dogs, and they can all get along, obviously, from your story too.
They can get along. Okay, so let's talk about players getting along in the locker room. Now, you've been in the locker rooms. You've seen havoc and mayhem, I'm sure. Whether it's football, you've been in the baseball side too, right? So what's the biggest confrontation or brawl, just straight out? Big fights. I want to hear about a fight in the locker room. Come on, you got something.
Well, it's actually not about my story. So I would say this, that my mom, when she ran, my mom, Susan, who's an amazing lady, she is the first and only female to have ever been a general manager, vice president, and legal counsel of a professional football team. So when my mom ran the Philadelphia Eagles, they were always well ahead of the curve with equipment because my grandfather, his theory was, let's spoil the players, let's give the coaches and the trainers and everybody, that's going on the field the best of everything. So I would say that one of the great stories that my mom has, which isn't about a fight or a brawl necessarily, although it does involve her ending up in the locker room when she probably was not supposed to be in there. And a kind of a funny story about walking in, and Jerry Robinson and a few other Eagle players were just coming out of the shower. And my mom's story, which is in her book, Briefcase Essentials, talks about how she ran down to the locker room to see this wonderful piece of equipment. And I don't mean a player's anatomy. I actually mean, that is part of the story. I mean a piece of equipment that they had been waiting for months to come in from Europe to, help the players train and work out. And when she got into the locker room, she realized that some of the guys had just come out of the shower, and they said, all right, at the count of 3, let's drop our towels. And so they did. And my mom was standing there and looking at their equipment. And rather than, kind of shrieking and running off, she just looked at them and said, no big deal. And for a very long time after that, Jerry Robinson was referred to as no big deal. Although I think I think the story is a little different. But so he had a nickname, which was Big Deal or No Big Deal.
That's really funny. Hey, listen, folks, here on the Circus, you never know what you're going to get. And here we're getting some really good, funny stories here from Marnie Schneider, she's the granddaughter of the former owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. This is great stuff. You don't really get these stories. Look, in prime time, you never know what you're going to get, except for, oh, by the way, here's what happened today, or here's the scoreboard. We're not a scoreboard show. So if you're looking for the scoreboard, keep on trucking, kids, because that's not what we do here. We've got dogs. We've got players dropping towels. We've got all kind of crazy things going on here. All right, so Marnie, you're also an author. Now tell me about, we're going to make a quick 180 here. Let's go the other direction. Tell us about the author business. Tell us about Freddie. I want to hear a little bit more about this.
All right. Well, thank you. So yes, I am an author. And I'm sorry, what was that?
No, about Fumble.
Yes, well, Fumble's right here on my lap. So I appreciate you referring to me as an author. That's a huge compliment. My grandfather, Leonard Toews, was a very colorful guy. They often referred to him as our town's answer to the great Gatsby. So when you have that kind of F. Scott Fitzgerald references, it's a colorful guy. And people would come up to me and they would say, Marnie, you should really write a book about growing up with Leonard and all this stuff that you did and the extravagance. And I said, at the end of the day, he was really just this kind of simple, sweet guy that was my grandfather. So it wasn't anything that exciting. Yeah, there were wild plane rides back from San Diego late at night from football games and so forth. But what I did really get to do and I really loved doing was traveling around with my mom and my grandfather when they were involved with the Philadelphia Eagles. So we kind of decided, let's let's write a book, a kid's book based loosely off my life and traveling around. I love history. My mom was a teacher before she became an attorney and before she ran the Philadelphia Eagles, and being an entrepreneur, she was a teacher and a very good teacher. So I figured, well, let's find a way to blend all the things that I love, which is certainly football. And I think sports is the universal language, travel, tourism, and getting kids an opportunity to learn about all these great cities that host professional football teams. So Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog was born. And we take you on a tour through all these different great NFL cities. And I'm sorry about that. And
hey, what about me?
Exterminator, I think, is on his way. But you learn about amazing places and amazing things to go do in those cities and the history around those cities. So in Philadelphia, for example, you will learn about Ben Franklin, and you'll learn about the National Constitution Center, Betsy Ross, and then you'll end up at the stadium to cheer on the local team. And then we do the same thing in all the other cities that we've done, which is Philadelphia, the Carolinas, Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and my most recent book, which is Game Day in Dallas.
That's great stuff. I like that. A big round of applause for that, because it's a cool transition. Actually, over the other shoulder. Cool transition and a cool story for everybody listening on the radio. You can't see these really cool dogs here on television. Good stuff. I'll tell you, I love the idea of being able to tell about a little bit of history, and then let's kind of relate it back to the experience that you're having today, maybe at a ball game or something to the effect. I like that. That's cool. You don't really see that, Marnie, I've never seen that in any book or any storyline. It's very unique. How'd you come up with that?
Thank you. I was, actually, I have to kind of give a lot of credit to my publisher, because when we kind of, he knows what audiences want. And we were thinking about, how to make this really relatable to everybody. And the best way to do it, because I get to meet a lot of kids and a lot of families. And I've been doing a ton of Zoom readings to, different neighborhoods and communities that have schools that are looking for a guest reader. So it's really finding a way to make my experiences, which might have seemed a little bit unique for most people. Although I always say, I grew up going to the family business, and that's what I did, which is football, a little bit different than maybe a family plumbing business or something, but it's still a family business, and you learn about it from the bottom up. So I love to share my love for football and travel and tourism through that. But also, I think that some of the things that I get to do is to share. I'm so sorry. Is to share the fact that,
folks, anything can happen.
Now you're going to see. Now he's playing defense. You can really tell. So learning about, and also how to call an audible and how to make things happen on the fly, which is what sports teach us. So I think that when kids can learn a little bit about sports and a little bit about history, it makes them able to communicate. And in this day and age, it's all about learning to communicate and share life experiences with one another.
I think a lot of people seem to miss the idea of the importance of sports. Oh, I don't want little Billy or little Susie playing this sport or that sport. They may get hurt. There's some garbage like that. Look, I think kids need sports. They need to understand what it's like to be a member of a team, understand your role in a team, and understand, look, the team is bigger than you. So whether you have a daughter that's a little unruly or a son that's a little unruly, look, everybody out there that has those, you know what I mean? Look, be a part of a team, because guess what? Life is a team. Back here in a few minutes with Marnie Schneider. Folks, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come with Marnie and Irving, but you can call him Fumble.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's abtrustco.com, or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tuzolino, host and remaster of The Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV, or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus, so we prove it every day.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. 800-755-4281. That's 800-755-4281.
Also known as Fumble the Dog, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm so glad to be able to be here today to talk to you about my love for football, my love for travel, my love for tourism, my love for history. And I've been able to put all of those things together in Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog Game Day. I've written 7 books so far. They take you on different tours through different cities, such as Philadelphia, the Carolinas, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Green Bay, and my newest book, Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog Game Day in Dallas. They're based loosely on my life growing up with a grandfather, Leonard Toes, who owned the Philadelphia Eagles, and my mom, Susan Toes Spencer, who ran the team for my grandfather. My mom is an incredible lady. She is the only female to have ever been a general manager of a professional football team. She's also an attorney, and she was a teacher and an entrepreneur. So I'm super excited and super proud to share my love of football again. And you can find Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog Game Day on Amazon. You can go to mascot.com. You can send me a note on Facebook, or you can send me a direct message, I guess, on Instagram and ask me where to find it. Or you can reach out to the Sports Circus and they can definitely direct you to Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog. And again, it's a great opportunity to learn about reading and to share my love for history and travel. And I think reading is a great coping skill. Reading and playing are 2 great coping skills. And that was why we really started to write Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog Game Day, to share, just the great things that can happen when you pick up a book and go on an adventure to a different city, or share the fact that you love those cities and that you want to experience them with your friends and family.
Right. A big round of applause for Marnie Schneider. And a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, those right here in Las Vegas, Magic 97.9 FM. Everybody in the greater LA market on NBC News, CNBC Financial, and CBS Sports on KCAA 106.5 FM, 102.3 FM, and 1050 AM. And everybody else that's watching and streaming us, who the hell knows? We're everywhere, folks. But Marnie's a very interesting person. She's got a couple of dogs there. Got to like the puppies. But the story's cool. Now, I love the idea that you have stories other people don't. And you had mentioned in the previous segment something about traveling around to going from different games and so forth. And previous to the show starting, you mentioned something about a stunt helicopter.
Well, it wasn't a stunt helicopter, but I'll tell you this story. So in 1978, and I'm dating myself, although I was young, the Eagles were playing their division rival, not necessarily the Cowboys, but their other division rival, the New York Giants. And my grandfather at the time was in Houston, the great city of Houston, having open heart surgery. So my stepdad, who I'm very close with, and my best friend, Cindy, we were offered an opportunity to take my grandfather's helicopter from Philadelphia to New York to Giant Stadium to go to the football game. So anytime I'm offered an opportunity to go to a football game, I will take it. And especially when it's a division rival like the New York Giants. So we went to the game, and at the end of the game, the Eagles were losing. And at the time, Giant Stadium, the visiting owners box had just one shield of glass separating the owners from the fans. And so the fans, the New York fans, were very excited because they had won the game. They had beaten the Eagles. Well, or so they thought. And then Joe Pisarcik, who I'm actually very good friends with these days, made the, I guess it was the handoff to, missed the handoff from Larry Zonka, and Herman Edwards picked up the ball, and with less than a second left, got the ball, ran into the end zone, and scored the touchdown, and the Eagles won the game. So suddenly the New York Giants fans were not really so thrilled anymore. And at the same time, the New York Giants, executives came busting through the visiting owners box doors with a bunch of New York Giants items for us to put on, which we did, because they said, if you guys walk out of here in Eagles green, we're going to have, it's going to be ugly. And so we put on our New York Giants stuff. They took us outside, and we walked to my grandfather's helicopter. And at the same time, the Giants fans were a little bit unhappy. So they started throwing some things at the helicopter. And my grandfather's helicopter pilot, Andy, said, "Oh, don't worry. These New York Giant fans, they're nothing. I was a fighter pilot in Vietnam." So he safely got us up and out of Giant Stadium. And then just because he had a little bit of, a little bit of pizzazz or something, he decided to take the helicopter and turn it on its side so that all the New York Giant fans would see the Eagles helmet as we were flying away back to Philadelphia with the W. So that's one of my fun stories about traveling to New York and being at Giant Stadium.
I love that. Let's face it. They shouldn't be the New York Giants anyway. They should be the New Jersey Giants, should they not? Yes. There's only one team in New York that actually plays in New York, and that's up in Buffalo, and that's hardly in New York. So really, what do they have there? They've got the New Jersey Jets. We'll call them the airplanes. And with that, we have the Giants. If you spell it out, they look like army ants, the GI ants, right? So guess what? You really only have one team in the area, and that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. So a big round of applause for the Eagles. They were one of my favorite teams growing up because I love that Eagle helmet. I thought that was
I know. It's beautiful. Yeah.
That was
Their
really
logos
cool.
I love the Eagles helmet. The Eagles logo is a great one.
Yeah, it's one of the best hats in the league. I think the other, probably, I think the single best hat in the league, now be honest, even though, take your bias away from the Eagles, I think the best hat in the league is the Chargers helmet. No question, with that lightning bolt.
It's, the thing is, growing up and being in an NFC East person, the Chargers were so far away, and it just was such a exotic place to go. I mean, that was always one of the, when the Eagles had the Chargers on their schedule, just traveling across the country was always so exciting. But I mean, it was a long trip and a late night excursion after that football game, wherever it was, and we would get back, back to Philadelphia breakfast time practically, just from taking the red eye back. But yeah, the logo, I mean, the lightning bolt, it's mythological. So of course, who doesn't like a lightning bolt?
Yes.
Or it's Elvis, right? TCB. Oh, isn't the lightning bolt, wasn't that very Elvis-like? Didn't he have the lightning bolt that said TCB, taking care of business or something like that? I think that was definitely something that I feel like I either made up or remember from Elvis, but certainly lightning bolts are mythological. So who doesn't like those?
Yeah, right. I absolutely love it. Do you happen to like that star on that hat? Jerry Jones' star.
I do. You know what? I love the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I will tell you this, that, I, as a youngster traveling to Irving State, to go to the games there, and they would always strategically position one or two of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders in the visiting owner's box. And so that was exciting. And I mean, who doesn't love a good cheerleader? I have an expression that cheering for others makes you a leader, a cheerleader. And it's kind of like how you started off the show, Sal, which is about leadership. And I do think that the Cowboys are an amazing team, and they do have incredible leadership. Jerry Jones is a great leader. Charlotte Jones is an incredible leader. And look at they have a football team and they have the cheerleading squad. So they basically have two teams under one umbrella, which no other NFL team really has. So I do like the star. And I will say this, that I'm a big fan of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the idea of women in executive positions in sports. And, we've seen maybe an assistant coach here. Now, we had Jen Welter on the show just a few weeks ago. But I want to talk about
I'm a friend of hers. She's awesome.
Right. When are we going to see a head coach in the National Football League, or a manager in baseball, or a head coach in hockey or in football? Or, I mean, when are we going to see a woman that is in charge of a team? I'm saying from the top of it, on the field, on the court, or on the ice. When are we going to see this?
Well, I think
look at a puppy.
I know, I'm an animal lover. Well, I actually think, that the San Antonio Spurs, that Greg Popovich is grooming one of his assistant coaches to take over eventually and to be the head coach of an NBA team. But so I think it'll be sooner than later. I'm not sure that having a female in a position, it's truly with anything, as it's about the most qualified person for the job. Now, obviously, right, if you have a female in that position, they might have to have strengths in different areas just because that's what the expectation is going to be. But with anything, and anybody putting anybody else, my mom got hired to run the Eagles, not because she was my grandfather's daughter, although that helped, but because she really was the most qualified. She had a law degree. She had a master's degree. She was super smart. She was savvy. She knew what was going on in the community. She could kind of identify. Now, she was not scouting. She was not the GM doing all the professional scouting. They had Carl Peterson, who was doing that at the time. But, I think that with anything, it's about finding the person who's the most qualified. And whether it's a man or a woman, obviously, I love to see women in professional sports. I love to see women in any position of leadership, and supporting women and helping them and being a cheerleader for them is something that I really enjoy doing. But a lot of times women, Sal, are not so nice to other women. That's just a fact too.
Oh, you mean they could have cat fights? Is that what you're saying?
I think that, it's often challenging as a female in certain positions because we've been held back for so long that there's the scrapping and fighting and infighting just to get a little bit of ahead, that it does kind of make some women not so supportive of other women. Yes.
Okay, folks, we're going to be back with Marnie Schneider in just a few minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come back here on The Circus.
Do you have any questions about legal issues? Have you ever been stopped by a police officer and issued a ticket that you're scared to deal with? Have you ever been in trouble with the law and don't know what to do? Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305. It's that simple. You will have access to high-quality law firms that will fight for you for less than $1 a day. Peace of mind is just a call away. That's for Legal Shield. Call 213-245-1305 or visit us at nocourt.us. It's justice for all and not justice for some. Are you a small business owner or pursuing the dream of starting your own company? Do you know where to start or how to grow that existing business? The American Business Trust Company has the answers you need. The American Business Trust Company can help you with startup capital, business strategy, sales and marketing, and establishing your company with a physical location or on the internet. You decide. You bring the idea, the American Business Trust Company can help with the rest. For a free evaluation, you may visit them online at abtrustco.com. That's ABTRUSTCO.com or call them at 657-600-1876. That's the American Business Trust Company, 657-600-1876. Call them today. They can help your business right away. This is Sal Tozzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus. Why listen to the same old dog and pony show that you've heard all day long? The Sports Circus covers everything that other shows don't or are too scared to cover. There's no primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the mouth and you'll beg for more. You can call in and participate with our chaos if you dare. Join me and celebrity guests for Havoc and Mayhem weekdays at 5 p.m. Pacific here on AAMP.TV or stream the show live at thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus, so we prove it every day. So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from the AAMP.TV mobile studio here in fabulous Las Vegas. That's AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guest, our prior guest, our podcast, and also check out our partners, very good partners, and one of them is the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming events and games. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. The best school, in my opinion, and I've been a college recruiter for many years, here in Southern Nevada, and a big round of applause for them. And welcome back to everybody listening in on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. And those watching us also on YouTube, make sure you subscribe as well. And a big welcome to everybody on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, thesportscircus.com, wherever you're streaming or watching this on television in Tampa, Atlanta, the greater Washington, D.C. market, Cincinnati, Detroit, greater Albuquerque. We're everywhere, folks. Just check us out, thesportscircus.com, for a lot of information, and watch out for those press releases. We have regular press releases coming out that will give you a good heads up on which direction we're headed and some of our other events that are coming up. All right, welcome back to Marnie Schneider. And Marnie is the granddaughter of Leonard Tost, the former owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Great stories coming out of Marnie, and she's got a couple of good puppies over there. Go ahead and introduce your puppies again for everybody.
All right, this is Irving, also known as Fumble the Dog. So in Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog, Irving and I travel around to all these great cities. And then over my right shoulder, which will be your left shoulder, is Cash. So Cash is the mini... there he is, the mini golden doodle. So he's going to appear in some of my newer books, but Irving/Fumble the Dog is really the original star of the show. But Cash is slowly gaining on.
That's funny. So Cash, almost he could be like a rap star, like Cash the doodle. What was this? What kind of dog is it exactly?
He is a mini golden doodle from a really great
Golden
breeder.
doodle.
A mini gold. So he's half golden, half poodle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would be the rap name for Cash the golden doodle? What's the give me something, think about bling around his neck. Give me something. I know there's something there.
Well, let's see. I mean, I think that if that kind of is his rap name. You can just name Cash, but it would be like CA with the $sign as the SH. That's how you would spell it.
Yeah, you can't get any better than Cash the Golden. Come on.
Right. There you go.
Cash,
Thank you.
Right. All right. So
what about bags of gold with him?
All right. So what's Irving's rap name?
Well, he's Fumble the dog. So, I mean, Irving is a great name. I love the name Irving, so I didn't want to change it. But
it's Fumble for Shizzle,
Fumble the
right?
dog.
Fumble for Shizzle.
Exactly. There you go. Done.
That's funny. So,
I'll trademark that one too.
Right. What's yours, Marnie?
Oh, geez. I don't even know. You guys are so good at this. Give me a name. Come on. Come up with a name.
I got nothing. You're the author. You've written 7 books. I haven't written 1 book. I've tried to, and I kind of swung and missed on that one. So this one's you. What do you got?
I mean, I guess if we're going to stay within the along the lines of it's Mo Money, Mo Marnie, something like that, right? Wouldn't that be? I don't know.
Marnie, have you ever thought about
I'll come back
writing?
next week and I'll fix it. I'll come up with a new name, or we'll just change it each week.
Marnie, have you ever thought about writing under a pen name?
Yes, I have. Do you have any suggestions for me?
Oh, I didn't know we were supposed to come up with your pen name now already. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, we got to come up with one that kind of hides it, right? Or are we looking for an anagram?
That's right. I don't know. You're right. If you tell me my pen name on TV, then I guess that would not be such an alias. So we'll just, you can secretly text it to me, my alias name.
Right. Okay. All right. So Marnie, look, being involved in sports, being around sports, it's not just football, but you've had some experiences with baseball too, haven't you? You know a little bit about baseball, as I understand. Maybe a little bit about some of the Phillies players. And I know you could tell us how many home runs Mike Schmidt hit, which in fact, if Mike Schmidt was playing today with that juice ball, he'd hit 1,000 home runs. No
Easily.
question.
Yeah. My mother, and I mention her a lot, but she's obviously a very important person in my life. Being an only child of a single working mom, I would spend a lot of time going to work with her. Now, her office happened to be at a stadium. And at the time, the Eagles and the Phillies shared Veterans Stadium. So they both played at the same place. And in the dog days of summer, when there was no football, there was also very little activity on the Eagles side of the stadium and no food. So I was hungry as a young teenager and would wander around to the Philly side during, the season, which was June and July and August. And they would give me a ticket and give me a hot dog. And I really had an opportunity to learn baseball by watching it. And I love the game of baseball. It's something that I really enjoy and appreciate. And I've been able to do some work in some other communities. I have a small foundation called Keep On Playing, where we work in communities and get kids an opportunity to go to minor league baseball games and really experience it, because there's nothing like going to a live sporting event. The ticket prices of, professional football and also Major League Baseball and hockey and NBA are really expensive. So, but I think that taking kids to a minor league game or even to a high school game is something so fun to experience it live. And I love to do that. So yeah, so baseball is a huge part of my life. And I certainly love that. I was at the World Series in 1980 when Tug McGraw had the winning out against the Kansas City Royals and the Phillies won the World Series. And it was a really exciting time in Philadelphia, because that year the Eagles actually made it to the Super Bowl in 1981, which was kind of tailgating off the Philly season. So it was lots of fun to be in Philly then.
Right. And so you think about that, when a baseball team does really well, I wonder what the stat is. I don't know what the statistic is, But every time, let's just say you have a championship team in baseball, they win the World Series. How many times in the same city will their NFL team or their NBA team come back and win a championship, right? So it's kind of contagious, right? We're not going to be outdone by those guys, right? We're going to go back in there and do it ourselves. At least we're going to get to the Super Bowl, like what you were saying with the Eagles. But I wonder how many times, what do you think? It seems to happen quite a bit. I mean, geez, look what happens in Boston with the Red Sox and the Patriots and the Bruins, right? I mean, they've turned into almost the city of champions. Now, we see quite a bit of that. What do you think?
Well, and it happens in Pittsburgh too, because obviously the Steelers have won a bunch of times and the Penguins have won. And I think certain cities are just known for their kind of gritty teamwork of the fans. And it's really about the fans. It all comes down to the fans. At the end of the day, which is really why I kind of started to write Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog. People say, how can you write about other cities when you're an Eagles fan and your grandfather on the team? I'm really a sports fan. I love sports. I love live sports. I love watching sports on TV. I think it really is the universal language. I love being a fan. If, an opportunity, arises where I can go to a game of teams that I've never really seen play, but watching people perform at the highest level live is amazing. And also watching it on TV or doing, getting a chance to listen to it. I love to listen to baseball. I think baseball on the radio is the crack of the, a bat hitting a ball is a beautiful sound for sure. So I think that fans make winners and fans bring to life the city, and fans, engage the community, and they really are a huge part of what's going to go on the field, on the court, wherever you are. It's all about the fans.
Yeah, it really is. And then, I guess one of the conundrums that I see are, look, historically, outside the Cleveland Cavaliers getting themselves an inevitable championship with James, you wonder about if a team or a city consistently loses. I mean, look, the city of Philadelphia has more professional losses than any other city in the country, but they also have their share of wins too. But you take a city like Cleveland, boy, you're talking about a hard time, a hard way to find some kind of a championship. I mean, it took till just recently with the Cavaliers with James, but outside of that, boy, we're talking a city that just does not seem to bring home the trophy. They don't bring it home for the fans. And talk about a depressed crowd. Outside of the Detroit Red Wings, boy, it is hard sledding for those Detroit Lions. Boy, I mean, look, and I almost feel bad for them. I'm a Bears guy. I'm from Chicago, but I kind of feel bad for them because they've had great talent. They just can't put it together. What do you think about that?
It's really tough. I mean, look, I've experienced it. The Eagles had many seasons when Coach Vermeil, prior to the Super Bowl year in 1981, but even after that, it's just those intangibles of life, Sal, where things come together and you can't really, and then it becomes this magical experience. But so much of it is about the intangibles, and great talent on a team doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have a championship. Certainly the Lions they've got great ownership. They've got all the right parts to be successful. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. So I'm hopeful that it will. Mrs. Ford is getting, she's in her mid-90s now. It'd be great for her to win a championship. And she's an amazing leader and has been an amazing team owner and really given the community a lot of great things. So like with anything, it's about finding the intangibles and being able to put together the group of people, kind of like that movie Armageddon, when Bruce Willis says, we're going to go get that asteroid. And he puts together this ragtag team. And with anything in life, my older son had cancer when he was 9 months old. And I kind of felt like Bruce Willis was really my inspiration in many ways in fighting Jonathan's cancer. Cause I was like, all right, his tumor is the asteroid. I'm going to put together my team of doctors and therapists and friends, and we're going to go get that tumor, and we're going to get it, and we're going to get rid of it, and I'm going to survive. And so is Jonathan, and we did. And it's about finding the right people, putting them together, and then going for it. And you got to keep your foot on the gas all the time. And that's really where I think often teams get derailed, is they just take their foot off the gas, and it's hard to sustain anything. So just keeping the pressure on anybody and being consistent and comprehensive usually has good results.
Okay, Marnie, listen, we're running on time. I want you to take 30 seconds, tell everybody where to find your books and how to follow you.
Okay, so go to Amazon and you can type in Football Freddy and Fumble the Dog and we'll pop up and you can order the books. You can go to mascot.com. You can go to footballfreddy.com, my own website, and get the books there. You can go to Barnes & Noble. If you want to go to Instagram, you can follow me at Marnie Schneider 1. You can follow me on Twitter at Marnie Schneider, just mine. So it's MarnieSchneider, or go to Facebook and follow me there, or they can find you, Sal, and send you a message, and then you'll forward it to me.
That they can. All right, Marnie Schneider, great for having you on today. Lots of fun, great stories. We'll have to have you back, of course. Want to hear a little bit more about Freddie. I want to hear more about Irving, which is kind of like his stunt name. Actually, that's his stage name. And I want to hear about the other puppy, too, and some of the upcoming books as well. Thanks for joining us today. And for everybody else joining us, we'll see you next time right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119